We arrive at our final bit of the Desert Fathers, translations of Helen Waddell from the Greek by an unknown author. "138. It chanced that a certain brother in a monastery fell into disgrace, and whilst the others were upbraiding him, he made his way to the abbot Antony, and the brethren followed him, wishful to bring him back, and began to cover him with reproaches, he meantime denying that he had committed that fault. Now the abbot Paphnutius was there, whose surname was Cephalus, and he told the brethren in his assembly a parable that they had never heard. I saw, said he, on the bank of the river, a man sunk to his knees in the mud, and some came up with outstretched hands to pull him out, and sank him up to the neck. Then said the blessed Antony of the blessed Paphnutius, behold a man who can verily heal the soul. And the brethren, cut to the heart by his discourse, did penance, and restored to the community the brother who had gone from it." Now, if it's not too disruptive, aka they can behave themselves in the community and not hurt the community or whatever, why would anybody need to be excommunicated? 139. One of the old men said, If thou shalt see any man sinning, cast not the blame on him, but on him that fighteth with him, saying, Woe is me, for here is the man conquered against his will, even as I, and do thou weep and seek the comforting of God, for we all are deceived. 140. A certain Timothy, a hermit, heard of a certain heedless brother, and when his abbot asked him what should be done with him, gave his counsel, to cast him out from the monastery. Now after he had been cast out, temptation came to Timothy, and when he was confessing in the presence of God and saying, Have mercy upon me, there came to him a voice saying, Timothy, this tribulation came to thee for this one thing, that thou hast despised thy brother in the time of his temptation. 142. An old man said, If any enjoined somewhat upon his brother in the fear of God and in humility, that word which was spoken for God's sake compels the brother to obey, and to do what was enjoined upon him. But if any anxious to rule hath chosen him to command his brother, not according to the fear of God, but for the sake of his own authority and his own will, he who seeth the secrets of the heart will not suffer him to hear, lest he should do what was commanded him. For that which is done for God's sake is manifestly a work of God, and that which was ordained for pride's sake is manifestly the authority of men. Whatsoever things are from God have their spring in humbleness, but such things as spring from authority and anger and strife, these are of the enemy. And certainly, you don't seek authority for itself. But if you're given the opportunity to have rightful authority, why not? Or if you seek authority with a purpose, then, 147. Another old man had finished his baskets and was putting handles on them, when he heard his neighbor saying, What shall I do? For the fair day is near, and I have nothing to make handles for my baskets. And the old man unfastened his own handles and brought them to his brother, saying, Look, I have these to spare, take and put them on thy baskets. And so for the great love that he had, saw to it that his brother's work was rightly finished, and left his own imperfect. Well, you can help others without being detrimental to yourself, right? 156. The abbot Agatho, coming into the city to sell his work, found a stranger lying in an alley sick, and with none to care for him, the old man stayed there, and hired a cell for himself, and tended the sick man, and supported him with the work of his own hands. For 4 months he stayed there, till he had healed the sick man, and so returned again to his own cell.